Well, ladies and gentlemen, we like to say welcome again to another edition of the program, The Bottom Line. The Bottom Line comes your way every Tuesday and Friday on our platform, The Bottom Line. Actually, we have three Facebook pages that you can log to: The Bottom Line, The Bottom Line Liberia, and The Bottom Line. And then we also have our um, YouTube channel, which we streaming on simultaneously. So we like to say welcome, and my name is Linford Guer. Along with me tonight is a full house. Um, Paul Chirople is there in the UK, and Stephen Carley is in Germany, and hopefully Andre Jallo is going to be joining us during the course of the program. She's in Belgium, and we sorry that Jamel Kamara, also from the UK, will not be joining us tonight because of some engagements. But we have a full house, and we have two guests that will be appearing. One is Mr. Cyrus Gray. Uh, Sarah is a political observer, commentator, and also a professional in the maritime area. And then we have Mr. John A. Balut, is former senator of uh, Maryland County. He will be joining us. And so the host is getting full. So if you just joining us, we say welcome. This is the Bottom Line. Again, my name is Linford Guer, fortunately in the UK, Stephen Carley in Germany. And we have two important guests tonight. Mr. John A. Balut is from Liberia, and he's former senator of Maryland County and also former ambassador to Qatar. I understand, but he'll be introducing himself. And we'll have Cyrus Gray with us from the United States in a few minutes. And so we are spread up all over the place. So, gentlemen, I'd like to say welcome to each and every one of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And just by way of introduction, I think the panelists will introduce themselves to our guest, Mr. John Barlow. So we start with you, Paul. Tell us your name and where you're from. Do I've done it, but it's good to hear from the horse's mouth.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. But I think his internet giving problems. So when he come back, then we'll do the introduction. I can see that he's offline. But it's good to be here. It's good to see all of you guys. And I'm in the UK here. A very beautiful day today. It's been rainy, and then we'll have this storm that destroyed the south of England. Oh,
Oh, sad. I haven't listened to the news, outside news though, all of today. But I think Cyrus Gray from the United States is with us now. And good evening, Cyrus.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Good to
Yeah,
be here today. How's everything?
that's
great,
good.
great.
Everything is okay. And Steve, we would like to introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Stephen Carley Jr., a former youth and student activist, you know, and yeah, a political commentator, a member of the Borderland Show. So it's good to be here with the Minister Emeritus of the Ministry of Transport, Minister Gray. It's good to be here with you. And of course, for me,
You're talking about Charles Taylor, right?
Yeah,
it was Liberia
always a
though.
minister, always a minister.
It was Liberia though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
more
that's true.
interestingly, I'm happy to have Senator Balut on. I'm sure he's having technical issues. And so, yeah, but I can't wait to have a very fruitful conversation with Mr. Gray and Senator Balut as it relates to the political unfoldings back home.
Well, that's great. And exactly that's why we're here tonight. And you know, if you're just joining us for the first time on this show, we'd like to say welcome. This is the bottom line. And somebody might be wondering why we call the show the bottom line. And I wonder I should explain that. Okay, no, I will let Steve tell, because Steve is one of the brains behind this name, the bottom line. Why? See, why did we choose the name bottom line? Why?
So we really hope that the name Borderline clearly articulates our intent, as this show uh, uh, endeavors to be unique in such a way that we call spade a spade, in such a way, a manner that our conversation, is civilized but very true to the issues, and so this name Borderline was influenced, by our desire to have a honest conversation, with the Liberian people,
And get to the bottom of the issue.
yeah. So we
Okay.
are here to we always here to take deeper dive into the bottom line of every issue that's been discussed here. In a nutshell.
Very good. Having said that, I'd like to officially welcome you guys. And those of you viewing, please share the video to your own Facebook page, and also invite your friends to be a part of the discussion. Tonight, one of our guests is still struggling to get on. He was on earlier, but then I think this is Liberia, probably Korean went or something. But for sure, he's going to be with us. And then we have Mr. Cyrus Gray already. Gentlemen, without any time to be wasted, let's get set in motion. We all have been following the political unfoldings in Liberia in recent time, and the most major one being the withdrawal of the Unity Party, or founding member of the Collaborating Political Parties, the CPP, from the very CPP. And this threat of withdrawal has been hanging over the CPP from the United Party over probably a month or two, that, we're going to withdraw, especially when the other party, the ALP, withdrew. And that was a threat. We'll withdraw. And that was a song being sung everywhere around Liberia, on the internet, everywhere. And finally, the day came and the withdrawal happened. I have a question from my heart, which is personal to me, and I want to put it out there to you guys. The withdrawal of the United Party from the CPP, does it make any difference? And if we could start.
Well, let me dive into this. I think it makes a big difference, because with all of these political wrinkling that's been happening, I think it was a good thing that they left, because they are the main instigator of all the problems within the CPP. So for me, I think it was a good thing that they left now, so the ANC and Liberty Party can now start working hard towards their aim, than to be in a situation that you have problems upon problems upon problems. So it was a good thing they left, so they can now go with their problem. And that's how I see it.
And I would think the exit, the poorly calculated, runaway tactics demonstrated by the likes of the folks, from the United Party, has created what I would call, a counterproductive, difference. Since in fact it has broken the promise, former Vice President VP Bwaka, on behalf of the United Party, made to the Liberian people, in recent months, that he would have he was committed, or he was committing himself to uniting and reconciling the CPP. And so in that line, that's a 360-degree somersault. He has metamorphosized from saying one thing to doing just the opposite of what he said. And I think that is not a difference for young people to copy after. And so in that sense, he has made a difference, but a very negative and counterproductive one. But I think this make no surprise to me. This is not news, given the fact that the VP Boaka of recent time has been taciturn, on the issues confronting the unity and reconciliation of the CPP. So his calculated silence, told me as a person and told many persons, in effect, that indeed VP Boaka was contemplating on treading this path that he's treading today.
Mr. Gray.
You can hear me now, right?
Right.
Oh, let me start first by, saying thanks that you called or asked me to come back here today so we can have these discussions. And also to say that having appeared last week, I was inundated with calls and messages. So I want to make a disclaimer here that when I come here, I actually speak for myself and in my own name. So I'm not speaking for anybody. Having said that, right, I like to put this whole issue in some context. We are coming to elections in 2023. And all the parties in Liberia, in the last election, there were probably about 19 or so contestants. I wish we didn't have that many, but all the parties have a right and supposedly have their own vision for taking over the leadership of the country. So it is good if some of the parties amalgamate so that they can increase their chance of winning. But it does not take away the fact that each of the party has its vision, has his set of people. So there will always be that conflict of ideas and conflict for space. So coming to the CPP, my thinking was that the four large opposition parties thought it was a good idea to come together so that they can feed one slot of candidates. For that to succeed, people have to be able to make compromises. So from the get-go, it was obvious that the leaders could not make these compromises. I don't think we should fault anybody for it. What it's really saying is that this probably was not the right time. It was not a natural process for them to contest the election. So if everybody decides, okay, we go on our own in spite of how it happened, well, nothing has changed. We've come back to the status quo because they formed their party really to be able to advance their idea to the Liberian people and feed their candidates. So I will hope that, in fact, the good side to it, if we're saying that to get rid of this current administration, it will be good for the parties to come together. I know for certain, I know I've dealt with the numbers, I've been involved in the elections. It's going to be difficult for any party to win the election outright in October 2023. So rather than the four big parties start this fighting, they got people in court, they are creating enemies, they're getting bitter about each other. Instead of continuing this line where they might get so pissed off with each other that they cannot talk, it's good that they separate, everybody run 2023. At the end of 2023's election in October, it may turn out that there are only now two candidates, because one candidate was not able to win outright 50% plus one. So when that one candidate is decided, if it be Alexander Cummings or Ambassador Joseph Boakai or God forbid Bernard Ure, that candidate will have gotten the mandate of people to contest the runoff. So they can negotiate now with the rest of the other parties, whatever way, to get the parties to join them. The only sad part about it, that if President Weah is one of those two, then he will be in a position also to negotiate with the other parties. So this is where we are.
Well said. I'm having some little technical problem here. I think I'll have to remove myself and come back because I'm having echo.
We hearing echo.
Yeah, because I'm locked in trouble actually.
No, can we continue the conversation while you joining us?
Yeah, you can continue the conversation. I just want to remove myself then.
Hello, Mr. Gray. And I think Mr. Gray is entitled to his opinion, and his opinion is even fair. But I think comparing his opinion to the issues or to the unfolding, he's more like beautifying and cosmeticizing. Now, Mr. Gray, I want you to look at what I see as a problem. The United Party, the ALP, and their likes committed themselves to an effort, the CPP. And of recent, Vice President Joseph Boakai, upon his ascendancy to the rotational chairmanship of the CPP, assured the Liberian people that he would do everything possible to have the CPP as that vehicle that can deliver a durable change in Liberia. Unfortunately, the reason that got us here today is because Vice President Joseph Human Boakai has undermined his own statements, his own commitment he made a few months ago when he was taking over the CPP. My question is this not a problem? Since, in fact, this is a man wanting a higher office in our country. Now, he made commitment, and the Liberian people see hope within the CPP, and then he's leaving to create a neo-political vehicle with no clear-cut justifications as to the reasons why he's leaving. Can this man be trusted with state power? Can the United Party be trusted with state power? And this is the conversation I beg. And I'm happy that we have Senator Balut on. Senator Balut, as we refer to him during his days of service at the Liberian Senate. He's always been referred to as the Barack Obama of the Liberian Senate. This man is a great statesman and it's an opportunity to be on. But that was my question, Mr. Gray.
Well, yeah, I think Linford need to go. So I like the response, and maybe since I had said something before you brought that, I should just comment for a second, right? The first thing we have to realize, we are in a political theater, and the four parties that constituted the CPP entered into a gentleman's agreement. Those were private agreements. If you were imagining that any party went into that agreement with the intent to undermine their interest, then you are mistaken. Now, you're saying Ambassador Boakai made commitments and he went against it. I wouldn't take that too much. I think every citizen of Liberia who will have the chance to judge him can decide how to judge him for that. But I think the party will seek the thing that worked best for them. The United Party guys want Ambassador Boakai to be their candidate. I'm disappointed that they set a list of rules to follow, and at some point in time, they decided not to follow it. And maybe they decided not to follow it because in hindsight, they thought it was not going to work for them. But I'm not going to throw them under the bus because of that. This is politics.
And are you suggesting that that's not a problem? That's not a problem?
That's not a problem at all. If you take a good look at politicians, they don't tell the truth all the time. It's about interest.
Well, let me just test my. I don't know what's happening. Okay, gentlemen, you're wait. I will log out and come back on. So probably if I log on, you will log out too. I don't know, but let me just try something.
Well, I think you just need to look at the echo stuff from your end.
Okay, I'm coming back actually.
Let's keep the conversation going. Yeah, so Mr. Gray.
Linford, 1 second. Linford, if you can, maybe we could just go and make a round. Everybody just mute one after the other, and we can find out where the echo is coming from. So let me mute first.
The reason we're having echo is I log in somehow 2 times. So I'm like 2 times. I'm trying to remove one. It cannot. But our listener will be very sorry for this embarrassment. It's from my side, and so I just have to leave.
Info, can you mute the other one that you lock on? Mute to see if you can mute the other one. If you lock in twice, mute one of it.
So Linford, can we go ahead?
Yeah, you guys can continue. You can hear me? You hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So we don't hear the echo again. So I think what you muted were all right.
Okay. Well, you hear me now? You still hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, Linford.
Okay,
Go
very
ahead.
good. Also, Senator Barlow, we're sorry for the embarrassment. It's from my side, actually. I don't want to stop the whole thing. That's why I don't want to log out. But interestingly, everybody is here, and we've just gone around the table because the question that I put out was whether the departure of the Unity Party from the CPP made any difference. But Senator Balu, let us say welcome. Senator Balu has been one man who thought he could mend the fence, who thought that it was still possible with all of these wranglings within the CPP at the time. He thought that there was still hope and that something could be done. People could arrive at something. Senator Balu, you made several attempts. Should I say your attempts did not materialize?
Well, at a certain point, I don't think they're materialized. But again, let me say thank you for the invitation and thanks to all of you who participated in this kind of intellectual exchange and on board by working more from our minds and from our and all of that. And thank you for the opportunity. The idea is that you want to stand united. And as I said, you don't change the team. The CP with the process, something I thought that could have been resolved by the leadership themselves. Okay, clearly?
No, you come in broken, sir. Abba.
It's broken, but we try to understand.
So, I'll try something else here. You hear me clearly now?
It's better.
Much better.
Is it the same?
It's better.
Okay. Well, the kind of network is kind of bad, so we'll just make do with what we can. However, I thought they could have responsibly resolved these issues on their own, considering the quality of people that made up the leadership of the CPP and the quality of the institutions themselves. These are very major political institutions in the country. Unfortunately, we saw further deterioration of the situation every day. And so I got involved in trying to, navigate amongst them to see how we will find a way forward. And my message was simple. Don't self-destruct. Don't fight each other. You need each other. To win this election, you will have to be united. It's not going to be something one political party can go and win on their own. Those days are gone in Liberia now. Right now, the level of political polarization is so intense, it's so big that you have to collaborate at some level. And so far, the CPP constituted the major political blocks in this country that could guarantee first round victory at any given time. We saw it with the two successive wins during the midterm elections and across the country. Unfortunately, the CPP leadership had not gotten the picture well enough to think that they needed to work and find a solution despite all of the challenges, difficulties, and odds. You will hear people from the Ambassador Boaka side will tell you that Cummings is the problem. Cummings is this, Cummings is that. You hear people from Cummings side and saying that all this is that. No, Ambassador Boaka and the others are the Ure and they are the problem. But where I'm coming from, with the experience I've had, I'm not looking at the petty differences. I'm looking at the bigger picture. Yes, we have these challenges. Yes, we have these difficulties. Yes, Cummings has been difficult in his position of holding on to certain things. Yes, Ambassador Boaka has been holding certain position, and Mr. Ure, yes, you all have had different positions. And so what? We still find a way forward. You have 2 to 3 different means of which you could find a standard bearers. One, voter perception survey, the other consensus, the other primaries. If you had 3, it's because you opted to find a solution by all means. Now, if one doesn't work, you try the other. If the other doesn't work, you try again. You keep trying until you find it. You just try to twist and add a little bit more spice and a little bit, angle to the discussion and the offers and the counter offers. But to allow yourself to degenerate, break down to the point your individual supporters are raining insults on the political leaders of others. These are the leaders of the CPP. These are the people who should constitute the government. You cannot allow your supporters to so carelessly insult a man like Joseph Yuma Boakai. This is a great statesman. Most of you, prior to this political debate, none of you could say you have a problem with Mr. Boakai. Today, because of politics, we are raining insults. Little children are saying the worst of things about this outstanding statesman, someone who has been vice president twice, who have had all the extensive years of leadership, who's committed his entire life to the service of this country, and who has kept his integrity and credibility intact. How many political leaders at that level can spend 12 years in and out of government and still keep their integrity intact? That's a role model.
Honorable Balut.
I just want to lay the premise now, please, if you just allow me. On the other hand, you do have people from the Ambassador Boaka side and raining insults on Cummings. We all know who Cummings is. Cummings has inspired a lot of people with his level of competence and organizational structure. I say Cummings is probably one of the most competent people in the entire country, and definitely the most competent candidate in the race to be president. This is one of the most outstanding citizens of this country, who brings a lot to the discussion, to our political thinking, philosophy in this country. Cummings is bringing economic development. Cummings is bringing accountability. He's bringing a lot of these things that can work with the government. However, we don't need to see how it can be either or one has to go down for the other to succeed. We need to start thinking how we can combine these two great men and form this formidable team that can guarantee victory first round at any given election in this country. So I've listened to both sides, including your show. When you invited me, I followed some of your discussion. I've seen some of your posts. They've not been very kind to Ambassador Boakai. I've listened to the other. They have not been very kind to other people when they speak of Mr. Cummings. And Mr. Cummings' supporters, some of them have not been so kind to Mr. Ure, and vice versa. The whole story goes around. But what is that? What is happening? We are inflicting self-wounds. We are self-destructing. We are digging holes for the CPP that you want to grow up into be this magnificent political force. It doesn't make sense. These are our assets. They are not liabilities. We just need to take away all of the confusion and match our assets into this great force. The CPP was the best thing that happened to this country. It was the biggest threat to the CDC. You know, the abuse of a thing doesn't take away the use of it. I say we need to now try to remove the abuse of the CPP so that you can rediscover the use of it and empower it better.
Okay. I'm going to come in right now.
Let me ask a question though. While we
Go ahead,
Senator Balu, good afternoon, and really good to talk to you. One of the things that the concerns that have been raised, and I want to indulge you with an honest conversation. I followed the concern that you raised about the divide and how you believe that not enough effort went into keeping the CPP together. Some people will say, for you, Senator Balu, when somebody else was the preferred candidate for the CPP in Maryland, you decided to run independently. How do you speak to this?
The sound is very bad. Do you care to repeat?
Let me repeat the question. I mean, I follow the unifying role that you have tried to play. In fact, I listened after Ambassador Barker's speech when you talk. Some Unity Party people were condemning you and all that. I respect that. My question to you, which has been raised by many, is that how do you speak to that unity when, while running as a senator, there was somebody in the CPP that was preferred over you, but you still decided to run as an independent candidate?
I don't know if you can't get Sarah's
I'm
well, but
having
Sarah's asking.
Please bear with me as I sort it out. 1 second, please.
Okay.
1
We
second,
could still
just 1
relay
second.
the question though. But while the senator is trying to adjust, we let us say welcome. For those of you who are just joining us, please help us to share the video and invite your friends. This is the bottom line. We discussing the exit of the Unity Party from the CPP, if it has made any difference, and what's the future of the CPP. And we have as our guests tonight the Honorable John A. Balut from Maryland County, former senator. And we have Mr. Cyrus Gray, a political commentator and analyst, and he's a Liberian citizen. So, Senator, are we okay? Do you hear us now?
Sound is okay.
Okay. Now, Cyrus's question was, he's been following your effort to try to, mediate in this fracas, but it didn't work. But his question is, you earlier on tried to run on the CPP ticket in Maryland County in the past elections, but somebody else was preferred over you. And so you decided to go as an independent candidate. How can you speak to that? Sarah, is that your question?
Precisely. I mean, considering that this is exactly what Ambassador Barker and the Unity Party has done.
Good.
Okay. Okay. I got your question. Again, this is not the same thing. What we have in the CPP framework document, you didn't have that kind of an arrangement. It's not in the framework document. It's a last minute thing that the four political leaders decided that they would share some of these counties among themselves, to the exclusion of other members of the CPP arrangement who were ambitious of participating in the elections to have a shot at the Senate. Now, the ideal situation would have been have a primary with CPP candidates, and whoever wins, that person should be supported by all, and everyone will back off. Unfortunately, that was not the case. There was no primary for the CPP, and it was just the ANC in Maryland that had their own internal selection process and selected an ASC member. So there was no primary for CPP. And nobody from the Unity Party had called me and said, listen, this is something we agreed with, so please, you have to respect it. We asked you respectfully to do that. No. Before I got in the race, I had informed the Unity Party. I had started campaigning. I had made a lot of investment and inroads, and there was nothing. So prior to the final registration, I wrote 2-3 letters to the CPP, to the Unity Party, asking them what was their position, what was their role. Because I frankly disagree to allot counties just blindly to different standard bearers simply because they were born from that county or that's their birthplace. That's not democracy. At no point in time that you give a county to a standard bearer because he's born from that place. So Ambassador Boaka was given Lufa, Alexander Cummings was given Maryland, Yombi Kanga Lawrence was given Grand Bassa, and the rest of them. So that's not democracy. I said it's a mockery of democracy. So all I asked for was a primary that was not granted. And so as much as I put forth this idea of unity, I know there are a lot of people who want to redirect the argument to bring it to my person. It is not about the messenger. It is about the message. And I will encourage all of you to stop wasting time on the messenger and more focus on the message. What I'm saying is that we need each other. Can anybody disagree with that? No. We can complement each other instead of tear each other down. Does anyone disagree with that? No. Victory with a united CPP is a sure thing. Victory with a divided CPP is not sure, it's uncertain. Can anybody disagree with that? No. As clear, obvious as the message is, united we stand, divided we fall. I think that's the message, and we should focus on it. If anybody means well for the CPP, whether you're from the ANC, or the Unity Party, or the ALP or Liberty Party, we will ensure some very important things. One, that Liberty Party remains intact. A divided Liberty Party is a complete useless organization to the CPP. It doesn't help. We make sure that we consolidate by taking Alexander Cummings to the court. It's a stab in the back of the CPP. I don't say help you. You just play into the cards of the government. By allowing our supporters to rain insults on great statesmen, great and important people, leaders of the CPP, I don't say help us. We're just shooting ourselves in the leg, stabbing ourselves in the back, and it's not only being condoned by the political leaders, it's also being entertained and sustained by the grassroots movement and supporters of this institution. At the end of the day, we all say, well, we all but won, they cheated us. No, don't blame anybody if things go wrong. Blame yourself. You have an opportunity to make it right. And so what if it doesn't work for all of these arrangements they've had? You keep trying. And if it doesn't work, you keep trying. You change your strategy. You keep trying until it works, because you know what? You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You have a dream team that won 2 successive elections in Montserrat. I said it clearly. When Geraldine Doe Sheriff was running, my esteemed colleague, may also rest in peace, Liberty Party had a candidate, Darius DeLong. Geraldine has 95,000. They don't have 5,000, Liberty Party. The rest with the Unity Party and everybody, put all their votes together, they didn't constitute 40,000 or 50,000 votes out of 95,000 that Geraldine had. The same Darius DeLong, once presented by the CPP, got 200,000+. And the CDC was trailing for the first time in the history of our contemporary politics and democracy. I mean, what more message do you need to hear to know that a CPP, United CPP, is the greatest threat to the ruling establishment? It's the surest chance you have to win the election. It is the greatest concerted effort to ensure this election is not tampered with, the results are not tampered with, and the people movement, that kind of massive movement at a time, can ensure first round victory in a way that makes it impossible to reverse. What's difficult with that? So let's focus on the message. Forget about the messenger. I am a person who believes in democracy. I participated in a lot of primaries. If I had lost the primary, I would have yielded. If I was told
Senator
by my
Barlow,
institution that we
I
didn't
want to
have
hold you right
primary,
there.
I would have considered. That was not the case.
I want to hold you right there.
Yeah. Can I?
Something that keep bothering me is all of these efforts that you are asserting to see if you could mend the broken fence within the CPP. Did you ever engage any of the leaders personally, like Ambassador Boaka, Mr. Cummings, Mr. Ure, and normally? Did you meet them personally, or how did you try to do this? Did you get my question?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I met each and every one of them. I mean, let me be specific. I met Ambassador Bwaka and Ure, not Ure as well, Mr. Ure and Mr. Cummings. But Mr. Cummings and Ambassador Bwaka repeatedly. I met with them, and my message was clear. We need to put our act together. We need to put our differences aside. We need to find a compromise position and move forward. In politics, it's not a fixed science. In mathematics, 1 + 1 is equal to 2. In politics, sometimes 1 + 1 is equal to 38 or minus 4.
What proposal did you lay on the table during your meeting with these people?
Sorry?
What proposal did you lay on the table as a solution during your meeting with them?
Science. My position was simple. Call everybody back to the table. After the breakdown and a long silence, call everybody back to the table. And let's say, listen, we started a beautiful experiment. Now it's gone sour. How did we get here? What do we need to do to get back? How can we do it? Is it possible? Can we save this country? Come together now and do that. That's leadership. That's all I asked for. Give them a renewed chance to settle the differences outside of the press, outside of the media, and void of all of the pressure from outside. Now, they didn't have that. I tried to ask them, is it impossible to move forward? And everyone was stuck in the ways. Out of respect for them and out of respect of the protocol of intimate of conversation, I will not reveal that word for word what we discussed, but it's important to say that everyone's position was fixed and it was clear a deadlock. So when we reached that level, I thought in the interest of the people, the suffering people of this country, in the interest of the promising future that we anticipated, I thought to bring the debate out to the public so that all of us can try in our different ways to add the pressure to our political leaders and help them to rethink and reconsider. That is the only objective I had, and that is the only objective I maintain of the present. It's only to bring people together, not to divide them. My position is simple. United we stand, divided we fall. The same team that gave you 2 successive wins in Montserrat, never heard of before. It is that same team that can give you a guaranteed election 2023. And that is the team we need to maintain. You don't change a winning team, especially the last minute of the finals. You don't do that.
Guys,
can I ask, moderator? Let me ask the former senator a question. Senator Balut, it's a pleasure interacting with you, veteran and big brother. Senator Balut, contextually, everything you said, from the premise you lay up to the last word you just uttered, contextually, I agree with you. It is unfortunate that we are at a point where the UP has pulled out. The UP is out of the CPP, and I assume the ALP as well. It's out of the CPP. Now, the question is, Senator Balut, don't you think we have a problem, given the way and manner in which the UP and her likes have pulled out, given the reasons justifying their exit, given that Ambassador Bwaka, VP Bwaka, recently articulated his commitment to uniting and reconciling the CPP when he assumed the chairmanship, the rotational chairmanship of the CPP, but yet has, unquote, let down the hope. So don't you think we have a problem there? Because Mr. Gray, I asked him earlier on, and he said that is not a problem. And I really do think that is a problem. What say you, Senator?
Well, anything that takes from the unity of the CPP is a problem. Anything. Anything that adds to the unity of the CPP is a solution. Simple. My advice to Ambassador Bwaka was to maintain the CPP, provide the needed leadership to reconcile the CPP. And that's what leadership is. You solve difficult problems. I said to him, you are the de facto leader of the CPP. not because he's been given a term like the rest of the people, rotational leadership, because he's the most prominent political figure in the CPP. He is the one who had the most votes. Don't forget, Ambassador Boakai came for the election, the most recent election, with all of the CPP members involved. And all of them combined didn't reach 50% of his votes. So you're talking about a powerhouse. Now, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Honorable Balut, I think this is where this is one of the problems that have been creating the tension within the CPP.
No. You're asking a question now. Maybe you should let me, land on it.
To whom much is given, much is expected. Continue, sir.
Yes. So much. So my view is that he should have remained in there and solved it because we need it. Make no mistake, and I maintain this position. No one party in this country can win election, including the Congress of Democratic Change. That's why the two successive wins in Monserrato made this democratic change and the coalition of democratic change so afraid and threatened that they decided to put their house in order. They stopped this fighting with Joe Howard Taylor, the vice president. They stopped this fighting with the LPDP. They're fighting with the Prince Johnson complaint. They stopped it. They try to put an act together because they know the threat that this enormous political configuration are brought to the table. Unlike them, the CPP got complacent. And they just already concluded that now we've won election, this hour is a foregone conclusion. So everyone is so carelessly putting forth their own ego and things that are standing in the way of the people. And I'm saying that's wrong. It is wrong what Alexander Cummings has been doing, is wrong what Ambassador Boakai has been doing, is wrong what Mr. Ure is wrong what Yomli Kanga is doing, because this has led to the demise of the CPP. If they were doing the right thing, it would have made the CPP strong.
Just a quick follow-up, Senator.
Yes, there is a problem.
What is wrong about Mr. Cummings' commitment to making sure that the CPP goes to an internal primary process, and that he has said that if he lost to Ambassador Boakai, he's going to support? What is wrong about that?
What is wrong? There's nothing wrong with primary. I support primary. I told you I call for primary. That's the surest way to have non-chaotic selection of party leadership and standard bearers. That's the surest way. That's the best way. That's what democracy calls for. But also, in a political arrangement that they have agreed to, they have accepted options. Now, it is the same ANC with Alexander Cummings, with the rest of the CPP member, who opted to not have primaries for the CPP. The same Cummings. They went in for a political arrangement to the disadvantage of many other partisans and members of the CPP, including myself. Okay? So if you can accept that, then you automatically accept that politics is not only about what is legal, but sometimes what is prudent.
No, but
so it
Senator,
is.
I want to slightly disagree with you on that, because on the issue of the presidential primaries, it was penned down on papers. It is an issue. I mean, it is a policy issue. Unfortunately, as you earlier on mentioned, the issue of county primaries or constituent primaries was not captured, was not indicated within the framework document of the CPP. So I would think, I would hope that I have been hoping, in fact, that what is penned down on the paper would have been respected by all of the parties involved. Unfortunately, the UP and her likes have walked away from what is penned down, and they are even claiming, this Booker lawsuit and all of that, which I'd like to hear your views on.
Within the framework document, they have options to select the standard bearers. Again, there are two ways to approach an issue. You can find reasons to not do it, or you can find reasons to do it. And we're talking politics. They have three options. By accepting three options is to concede indirectly and to the sensitive nature of politics and the need to reconcile differences sometimes through other means. I'm not going to go into details because the devil is always in the detail. I am staying above the fray. Now, with my own little experience, both as a senator and ambassador, from what I have seen and what I have understood, I'm just saying to you, what is the surest way to guarantee victory? Unity. I had my conversation with Mr. Cummings. Without hearing what he's saying, I can give a message to, I can give you a hint, what I've said in public and in private. Sometimes when you think you win, you actually lose. And sometimes when you think you lose, you actually win. Granted, ANC, Mr. Cummings had his primaries. Granted, you go for the primaries and you win. You have Ambassador Joseph Newman Boaka with the massive support he has across the country. You have someone who has 3 times, almost 5 times your vote. 3 times your vote in the last election, and more than any other person. You have this man who his single person represents the greatest threat to the government in terms of electability. You have this man of the largest political party institution and structure. You have in 12 years experience as a vice president, someone who has led this country without stint on his character. Forget about all of these Facebook, social media attacks. They're all political. They're not substantive. They're not real. And you want this man, you go to the primary and you defeat him in the primary. And Joseph Newman Boaka is walking out of that primary. Yes, you won primaries. Please tell me, what else have you won? In a political arrangement, you won the primary. What else have you won? Do you think you won the masses support? Do you think you
Senator,
won
this is the second time.
Do you think you want to
this, Senator, I'll hold you right there. This is the second time.
So?
This is the second time.
I'm prepared to be helped.
Therefore, I need to comment on some of these things. That
Let me cut in, Sarah. This is the second time I've heard you, Senator, say this particular word, that if JMB and Mr. Cummings were to go to elections or primaries and then Cummings happens to win, does he think that he has won anything? So are you implying that it's difficult to ask the question, but I'll ask. Are you implying that JMB was in a race that everything should go his way? Because what I'm trying to gather from you is that if and ever Cummings was to win JMB at a primary, JMB will take away all of his vote. They will not go to the ballot to vote for Cummings. That's why I keep trying to deduce from your statement, because this is the second time. This is the second interview I've heard you saying this particular thing. Was that the motive that JMB went with? And this is the first question. Then the second question is, because I want my colleagues to come in. The second question is, are you one of those people in United Party, along with Joe Boaka, that feels that Cummings should have, at all costs, become vice president, and that was the only way out for him? What's your position on that?
Well, let me make it that I have not formed part of any political party, any unity party position in any meeting that said to Cummings is either this or nothing. My own discussion is as a result of failed discussions within the CPP arrangement. My own involvement is a way to resuscitate this thing and bring some logic and reasoning to the debate. If it's not going to go the way people want it, so what? We betray the hopes and aspirations of the millions of people in this country who believe that the country can change with the CPP. I'm not saying you, but I hope you can see me and I hope you can hear me. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is that, what does it mean if we don't have this discussion, if they don't agree? Should we just forget about everything and leave the elections? What does it mean? I'm just saying,
maybe I should comment on that.
Let's find a way forward. And I'll say to you, I give to people what is theirs. Alexander Cummings, I say by all measure, forms, and standards, is the most competent candidate in the race. Joseph Newman Boaka is the most electable candidate in the race. And I'm not talking politics, I'm talking reality. This is just to bear on our understanding this simple message and simple logic that can guarantee the kind of results we all want. If we keep tearing each other apart and holding on to our posture, political positions and posture fixed in concrete, and we lose, well, how does it help us? How? With all the competency Mr. Cummings has, if he's not as president or vice president or in the government, if we don't win the election, how can he commit that to the country and change the country through the institutional approach and all the governance things? Doesn't
Can,
with all the
cannot
electability
let me say something. Let's have a dialogue. All right.
Go ahead, Cyrus.
First
Please.
thing, the reason I'm here is to have an honest conversation about politics in Liberia. I hear would say we. I don't know what you mean by we. There are two things that we are looking at here. We're looking at an election and we're looking at governance. It seemed to me when I'm listening to most people, including Senator Balu, the idea is just to win an election. It is because we are fixated on that, just winning an election. That's why we elect people.
Yeah.
And a few years down the road, we are trying to look for other people. I said earlier that the breakup of the CPP was not a bad thing. No, before President Weah became president, he went to Ganta with Alexander Cummings, Bernard Ure, Bromskin, and they committed to feed one candidate. It collapsed. The CDC went down the road and created other arrangements, and they won the elections. All through that time, we're not asking George Weah, what do you do? How do you run this country?
Yes.
What's your policy?
Yes.
How would they change things for us? All we're after, who can win?
Who can win?
We're having those same discussions right now.
Yeah.
I don't see us even wondering whether what is ambassador and to your credit, Senator Balu, you say that the Oman is the most electable candidate. There's nothing to prove that. If you are relying on the numbers that Ambassador Barker had in October on 2017, then we are still at the same place because George Weah's numbers were bigger.
Yes.
So there's nothing to say that he can win George Weah. So everybody that joined that coalition, that collaboration, were equally important. Because if the vice president thought that he could win by himself, because he was popular, then there's no point in having anybody working with him.
Yeah.
So I believe that the conceptualization that was around the CPP were flawed in the first place. So I knew that at some point in time it would collapse, but it's not a bad thing that it has collapsed. Now we have a democracy. Those who are saying they want to be president, they and their organizations, they need to tool up now and explain to the Liberian people how they intend to make a better country so that they can garner the numbers. Now, if in the process they look for other parties to join them, that's fine. But for us to assume, oh, this CPP is like the stone that God gave to Moses, I can tell you from everything I know, it's just right now one group of people trying to take over so they will monopolize their government's position for they and their colleagues. We're not even having the right discussions yet. So I'm not anxious to say this person should be president or that person should be president now until we have a serious conversation on where do we want to carry our country. Is this guy the right guy for it? If, for example, Alexander Cummings had a little over 100,000 votes, having participated in election for 1 year, maybe if we think that he's the guy for president, then we all should step out and try to increase the number and mobilize people. If Vice President Boakai is the person, and for him to be the person, he has to make the case to us. He has to make the case to the Liberian people, not just assuming, oh, we had a CPP arrangement. And that's why I asked the question earlier, in your situation, the same CPP came out and said, guess what? We feed this person in Maryland, and now you. Why didn't you just say, God damn it? I mean, we got to stay with this organization, so I would just fall in line. There got to be a way to deal with it. You went, you broke out and ran. It happened for many other people. So the whole structure that allows for this unity itself was flawed. The focus is on just trying to win election. So that they broke out is not bad. Maybe it's good for us now to have this discussion all over the reading it. But for example, Alexander Cummings has his own vision. He left his job at 59 years old to come to Liberia to participate in the process and run to be president. So put yourself in his shoe. Does it make sense because of all that thing you're explaining to say, okay,
Cyrus,
I'm the
I
vice
wanted to
president?
dive in here, Cyrus. I just want to add something on. I mean, Senator Balu, nice meeting you. First time interacting with you. My name is Paul Chilupe. I was born in Homer Station, so just to let you know, I have a Maryland background as well. So
all this stuff is enough.
yeah, you stated something earlier that the CPP, they did an experiment with Darius Dillon, because you mentioned about the late Senator Geraldine Doe when she beat Darren Dillon and the other with 95,000 votes. The CPP came together, they did an experiment, and that experiment worked. So why this time when it comes to the presidential election, the TK, why is it the man who had the most vote that is popular, well known, they had a friend where to go through a competition? Why did he allow themselves to go through that process and they have to someone saw in a 360-degree? Why? And you came, said you've been talking to them, but you had the other constituent party that started the trouble from day one. That Mr. Barker is the best person, he's the most experienced, so I gave my support. It was not the agreement. The agreement was the best person prevailed. So I want your input on that.
Okay, let me just start from the first speaker and the first question. He raised
Can
the
I
point
come in?
that. Can I respond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Senator.
Okay. So the first speaker had said that he noticed that it's just about acquisition of power and not good governance. That's where the problem with this country has always been. True. And he went further to accuse even John Balut as being one of those who is more interested in the acquisition of power, CPP, and not worrying about the consequences or the aftermath of the acquiring the power. What do you do with it? No, I disagree with you on that point. If I was just interested in the power, I would not be insisting to have Alexander Cummings part of the equation. I know who he is. I respect this man. I admire him. And I said to him, any day, your place in the leadership of this country is secure. You will be a president someday. Maybe not today. And I feel strongly not today, because I don't think he has had enough time to make inroads in the political space of this country. He's a great man, make no mistake about it. He is growing, but in fact, I think he's the fastest growing politician on the block. He has a lot of things in his as to his advantage as an asset, as assets. But part of those achievements, has it given him the status now as the most electable? No, I don't think so. And in politics, in our country, we need to start being realistic with each other in a way that we can find a solution to our problem. I am interested in good governance. I'm interested in innovative leadership. I'm interested in a revamp of our economy. I'm interested in a strong approach to accountability, transparency, and inclusive participation of our country. That's what I'm interested in. And I think Alexander Cummings, with what he brings to the table, has a lot to offer in this regard. That's what I think. That's what I think he should be next to Bouaka. And if he works so closely with Ambassador Bouaka, very well supporting this man, next time around, he is the surest candidate for the presidency. Sure. Strategy. Now, the next question you asked is that, we're afraid of the primaries. I didn't support the primary. The people listen, nobody from the entire CPP, the CPP did not call me as a candidate who had been campaigning, making rules before they came up with this arrangement. Somebody who has asked his party and the standard bearer for his own support and endorsement. Nobody called me. I just heard and decided to write letters to the Unity Party, 3 letters, what is going on here. Nobody talked to me. There's nobody from CPP. CPP did not write me a letter. CPP did not call me to a meeting. CPP did not ask me anything. So please let me make it clear. So I'm not walking away from the institution. I protested the institution flaws. And I said to them, you make the mistake next time, we will lose unnecessarily in most of these elections. That's it. And that's my position. The next thing, the last caller, I'm sorry, I think please tell me what you spoke about again. I'm sorry, the last caller. Just a point.
Well, no, I was just talking about the example he gave for Geraldine Sherry, the late Geraldine Sherry, and Darren DeLong. Isn't that the same
Yes.
principle should apply in the presidential
Okay,
nominee?
good. Good. You said Joseph Walker, that I claim is the most electable, still got less vote than George Weah. And that's a major concern for you. So how can I claim that? That's what I'm saying. And most of you need to stop trying to find some kind of a hole in the argument that I put on the table. I'm saying Joseph Walker is the most electable. Therefore, we put forth the most electable, and we increase his electability by our own strength that we bring to the table as these strong institutions. And I said, Joseph Walker alone going to that election doesn't have a good chance of winning. No one party in this country can win. None, including Unity Party with Joseph Juma Bwaka. Joseph Juma Bwaka, because he has a clear shot of the election, we will have to do things differently. You make sure the CPP is intact. You need Alexander Cummings by your side to campaign. You need Verena Ure to campaign. You need Dumbly, Kanga Lawrence, Senator, to campaign. You need your entire force. You need a united Liberty Party to campaign, to increase your electability, to increase the numbers you got. That's what I'm saying. We pour forth our best and we strengthen the strong. That's all I'm saying. So
Okay,
don't get me wrong, and I'm not in any way putting any candidate down. I'm saying, so what if we didn't find a compromise? So what if we didn't agree on the voter perception survey? So what if we didn't agree on the consensus? So what if we didn't agree on the primaries? What do we do? Dash the hope of the Liberian people or find a way despite the odds? That's all I'm saying. If any one of you disagree with me, then you can speak out.
So, Senator, I think what you're saying here, the CPP came together to coronate Mr. Vice President Burkhardt. That's what he's saying, because he's the most electable candidate. That's why he's telling us. So what a point of, so it's good that it went a separate way, because it was not a coronation for him. That had been presented that because he's the most experienced and he's most electable, so Cummings should have come number 2 to him. It was not
I think again you're making a mistake. This is not a position of unity. No, please. Let me say why it's a mistake. This is not a position of Unity Party. This is not Unity Party leadership speaking. This is a concerned citizen of this country who believes in the CPP, who is part of the ideologue of this, of the CPP. This is a person who puts the interests of the country beyond our individual differences. That's what I'm doing. And I ask all of you to adopt the same posture. You are where you are, living very comfortably, I assume, in other people developed nations. We owe it to ourselves to find solution in our country. Whether it is the best solution on the ground or the best arrangement or whatever we have, let us make the CPP work. Let us give ourselves a shot to make it work. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but so
this is not a unity party.
Senator Balu, the CPP does not have to work. That's the point I'm making to you. The CPP is not the only vehicle to run Liberia.
Yeah.
That experiment has failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's and then,
okay.
Let me correct. Don't throw those jabs at us because we sit now in foreign country. I live in Liberia too. I'm just in Texas.
No, I'm not throwing any jabs at you. I'm just trying to appeal to your listening.
Let's have an honest conversation about the issues. What I'm saying, there's nothing that tells me that any of the candidates yet can run our country. This is a discussion we should be having, not to create a horse to carry Joe Bwaka to the presidency. If Ambassador Bwaka is fit to be president, we would not be having this argument because he will make that compelling case to his colleagues and to the rest of the Liberian people. It seemed to me there are some people who are not sure that he's the guy who should be president. Mm-hmm. So the field is really open. The CPP was brought together as a private arrangement between 4 registered political parties. It's not written in stones. Now that they are broken up, let the guys who are determined to be president create the package that they can sell to the Liberian people, to all of us, that will make us rally around them and don't give George Weah another chance. Mind you, while we are at this, in spite of whatever President Weah and his team are doing, they are also calibrating. They are going to make themselves an option. So if we were to jump on and say, okay, a few people sat in the room and they say Ambassador Bwaka is electable, and let's feed him and create discontent among some of the people in the opposition, there's no telling that some people will take their package to the other side. So we need to have something that is fair, that is balanced. I understand your issue about politics here and there, but at the end of the day, politics is a number game.
Okay, Andre,
Well,
Andre, can you come
well,
in?
Yeah,
I
I would
think
like to come in. Can you guys give me a chance to come in?
Yeah,
you have a
go
chance.
on.
Okay. I want to say welcome to our guest, former Senator of Maryland County. I listened to you. I know that you want the best for Liberia, and you want Liberians to learn to be united in their fight. But the thing is, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because of the deception and lies within this collaboration. How can you say that a man who was beaten by the present ruling party, who the Liberian people overwhelmingly rejected because of rampant corruption for 12 good years, can be a better candidate than Mr. Cummings or other members of the collaborating party? This, if you want to say the truth, then let's put everything on the table and be honest to ourselves. That's what I think. If we are honest to ourselves from the initial stage of the collaboration, I don't think we will be in this kind of situation that we are. I don't think we will be in a situation as we are claim that those that are in the collaboration, they are educated, and he is not educated, and he feel that education is of no importance to Liberia. It is because of these greedy, educated people who cannot think for themselves, who cannot be honest to themselves, who cannot tell their brothers or their sister, oh, this is wrong. This man had ruled the country he had been the second man in command for 12 years. He did nothing, absolutely. No disrespect to Mr. Boaka, former MVP, no disrespect to him, but it's just the truth. The Liberian people are the ones suffering. We just depend on who have the crowd. Do we ask ourselves whether the person is capable, whether they are competent enough, whether they are mentally and physically fit to run that country? Looking at where we are right now, we took a footballer that is unsophisticated, uneducated, incompetent. He do not have no experience about how to lead a country. And now we see our country crumbling in front of our very eyes because of the same mistake. All we wanted was who will win, what they will get out of it. We don't think about our country. We are not nationalistic. We are a greedy set of people. We can continue this. Was the collaboration ever brought together that VP Baka should be the president and Alexander Cummings should go second? Politics is a competition. If you don't want to compete, then do not get in politics. If you don't want to be insulted, to be called names, to be, a whole lot of dirty things, then don't get in politics. Mr. Baka should have accepted to compete only if at the beginning of the CPP, if it was made clear that they were going to make Mr. Not Alexander Cummings, but Bouaka president, then there is no argument because Cummings had already accepted it, Yombly accepted it, and Beneda Yue accepted it. But no, it was open. There was an open option. You could just have one group of people kept,
Okay,
other people,
Andre,
right?
I think you've made your point.
I support that message. I support that message.
Yeah, time is not in our favor, and you're getting
Linford, I have a quick question for the senator, please.
No, we need to have
go ahead.
more time today, Linford, because I have respect for Senator Balu. I knew him before when he was
Senator. You see now
senator in the House. I was also working in one of those senator office. I know his stand. I know how he used to, handle people in there that want to temper or what they call. But I must disagree with you on the part where you said that Barker had the number and he have the ability of winning election. We are not looking at that. We are looking on who is going to transform Liberia, who is going to take the people of Liberia from this shackle of poverty and corruption, impunity. We need a good leader. We need our country to be transformed. We live abroad. We see the kind of life that is here. Our poor people cannot have a better education. They can have nothing. There's no electricity. There is no good health care. So we don't care about numbers. We care about the competency of the person, the past record of the person, how a good leader that will transform Liberia for better. Enough of this corrupt people, recycling politicians. We are tired. And I don't want you to say that because you are a good statement. You are not like those people. I saw your video when you were interviewed after the Unity Party conference, and I must commend you for that, for standing up and not, you don't care about what they say to you or what they try to tarnish you. In fact, they even label you as an ANC man because you stood up to say the truth. But here you are on this platform. The same people who call you an ANC man, you are telling us that he should be elected as president because he has the number. He has no number. If the people of Liberia wanted to elect the Unity Party, they could have done it. But they rejected him overwhelmingly and prefer an unsophisticated, uneducated footballer. So, yeah, it's okay that the CPP is a pact. Because for me, from day one, I was against Cummings joining those corrupt people. He should have stand alone and believe in himself. I think that he did not believe in himself. There should be a lesson to any new political party. Believe in yourself. You have the idea that, yes, I want to be president. You go into the race, believe in yourself, and
yeah, like I said, I think you've stated your point, and
I'm done.
I don't know whether the senator will let you respond, or Steve, you say you got a question.
Yeah, okay.
I think you give the senator a chance to respond.
Yeah, let me respond a little bit. You know, it's unfortunate that most of you don't even know Ambassador Boakai. You don't know him. You only know of him, but you don't know him. I've worked with him for 9 years. I've come close to know who he is, and I respect him. As much as I respect him, I was bold enough to say in his face that what you are doing is not the right direction. You need to fix the CPP because you need it. And when I say Alexander Cummings is the most competent, it doesn't in any way take from the competency of Ambassador Boakai. Neither when I say Ambassador Boakai is the most electable, it doesn't take from the electability of Mr. Cummings. I'm just saying what each person brings to the table should complement and form this dream team. Now, I've heard you say Ambassador Boakai is a very corrupt government. No. I don't know to what extent you're talking about corruption in the Unity Party. It's a new debate. It's another day. But politics, we get through everything. Just today, I was somewhere in Kerry Street speaking to some intellectual forum, and I said to them, the very government in place had been throwing things, including some of you, that some international organization has said we gone past 66 or so concession agreements that had not met the requirements, the AUKUS agreement. And this very CDC campaign on it, I told them you have an opportunity now to take it out and look at it. And if the AUKUS are not correct them, because that's the job of government. Let us stop playing with words. When I was in the Senate, when that thing came out, I said to Pro Tem Finley, this damning report coming from this international organization is an indictment of the Senate, of the legislature. If they say we pass AUKUS agreement, yeah, bring these things, let them point out the flaws, let them point out the shortcomings, where these things didn't meet legal requirements. And then if they're true, we correct them. If they're not true, we make them to retract that statement. Because these are the kind of statements that take away from the credibility of the country, that drives away investors. So it's not enough to talk about these things. It's important to deal with them.
Yeah, but
Now you're speaking up.
I think the later point that you just spoke
No.
on
I'm
about
just giving
corruption.
you.
Senator
About
Barrow,
corruption. Are you
No,
denying
I
that there
mean,
was
let
no
me
corruption? I
respond
mean,
now.
there was
Let me respond.
corruption in
Let
the
me
government?
respond. Please allow me to respond.
Yes, sir.
And
You will
so
respond.
to
I
say
mean,
that
I'm not stopping you, but I'm just asking. I don't want to forget my question because you said she spoke about massive corruption and it probably didn't go down well with you. Are you denying that? Deny that or accept that before we move forward?
to say that there was no corruption
Mhm.
would be a fallacy of thought, and I would never say that.
Okay, move
Okay,
on. My
to
question
say
is
that
also,
to
move
say there
on.
was listen to say that there was no corruption, I would be lying, and I cannot speak for everybody. Not because I have evidence of somebody corruption, but because I know there were a lot of outcry, and I myself condemn on certain things. Now, this is the same unity party that for the first time brought the budget to the public, online, the national budget, transparency involved. This is the same unity party that you speak about that had a reporting exercise to the legislature for the first time how the budget was spent before the government could be accorded more money for the budget. This is the same unity party that gave rise to the Governance Commission, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the Whistleblower Act. This is the same government that you've spoken of like that. These are people who put everything on the line to lift up the transparency and accountability of our country in dealing with this. President Salif has
But there are a lot
repeatedly
of things. You
admitted.
see, I would have loved, actually, let me be frank. I would have loved this thing to be between me and you, that I can take you one-on-one as you make your point, because this is my style of doing it.
The only point I'm trying to make is that
but
there was
like promoting
nobody can say there was no corruption.
You accepted that there was corruption there, but you did not go into that. But now you are trying to tell us the good part, the good thing that Unity Party did. Tell us some of the corruption, the bad things that they did. Because we already know the good things you are telling us. So tell us some of the bad things that they did, Senator. You were in that government,
okay.
Senator.
Okay, what you can do for yourself and myself and your audience is to invite me so we can speak of the legacy of the Unity Party from where I form part of.
I accept
but right
that
now,
Senator, I accept it.
Yeah, and
but
you know what?
Senator
For me, it is not a challenge. It's an opportunity that we can interact.
Opportunity.
Okay,
because
you
are saying you say
and
that
so, and the reason why you spoke now, my dear. Let me finish you now, please. We have to allow each other to speak.
No, but you said something. I'm just.
I heard you. Okay, go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I'm listening.
You said I shouldn't say that Unity Party is corrupt. When
that's not what I'm saying.
Himself came out and admitted that yes, they were corrupt and they squandered all the opportunities. So what is the point about you defending a former corrupt government? They said it.
Well, I can say to you, the hallmark of a corrupt government is not progress, it's retrogression. When Unity Party built hundreds of schools across this country, hundreds of clinics across this country, build roads, restore the hydro, put partial electricity and running water, rebuild our institutions, raise the minimum salary every year until there was some minimum appreciable level for our people to take home. When you have your budget increasing every time here, those are not signs of a corrupt and backwards government. To meet the benchmark of the international, can we please allow?
Yeah, go ahead.
To meet the benchmark of the international community that you can waive $5 billion worth of debt, that you can attract almost $20 billion worth of investment, that you can have tens of thousands of our citizens working across the country, that I can have Tottenham University today in Maryland working where there was no university. That my rules in Maryland now can
Party honor Ellen Johnson Salif, Madam Ellen Johnson Salif. That was now Unity Party honor Joe Boakai.
Okay, so now we're changing it around. But you see, don't forget, Joseph Boakai and you are on the same side. You know which side you're on? You're on the opposition side. You know what your quest is? To ascend to state power and make a difference. That's the same side you're on. And so we try to find reasons to connect. Don't look for reasons to disagree or to differ, because those reasons are there.
Yeah, but
those reasons are there.
We went through this
if you spend all your time,
Sarah said it.
if you spend all your time,
Sarah said it.
Listen,
we just don't want to listen. We just don't want to win, or we just don't want for the opposition to win, but we want what tangibles can the opposition that will win
my
deliver?
dear sister said that Joseph Boakai was defeated massively in the election. That's what she said. Okay?
Yes, of course.
But if Joseph Juma Boakai, who had more than 450,000 votes, was defeated massively, what can you say about the other candidates who were 125,000? With 25,000?
Also defeated.
With 106. Now, no, I'm just trying to. No, you know, when you're using this terminology, you see, don't be unkind to yourself. We need to, I try to avoid going, into these details because they're not helping the unity that I'm working for. I try to remain focused on the main thing. The main thing is unite the opposition as the only option to victory. That's the only option to change this country.
If we are not honest to ourselves.
Good. So most of you have been asking, what is the way forward now that the Unity Party and Co have left? The way forward is this, and some of you have indirectly alluded to that. The way forward now is that they go their separate ways as they've decided to. You have the CPP and this new coming alliance. Let them do their work. Let them work towards empowering the opposition, but let them remain respectful to each other. Let them start this ceasefire. Let them stop directing the missiles at each other. Let them try to redirect the effort to the common target, which is the government, and trying to have this government. Let them stop insulting each other. Let the supporters stop talking negative about each other, starting with your own show, the bottom line, Liberia. Start speaking kindly of each other while these people go their separate ways. And hopefully, one of them, and I hope that they can re-emerge before the elections as a stronger body, because mind you,
are you going to continue your effort, Senator? Are you going to continue your
I'm not going to stop. We're just going to continue it, and I hope you guys can join in by reducing the temperament in the room. You got to allow time and space can heal. Time and space can heal. Let them give themselves time. Let them give them space. Let them go about what they're doing. And at some point in time, hopefully, they can all be able to come back with a more understanding of what the objectives are and go in a more concerted way to winning the election. Maybe this is not a bad idea.
Let's be hypothetical. You have not given up. You have not given up your effort. So
no, I'm not.
Do you still meeting in your mediation effort? Fast forward. Do you still meeting that Mr. Boakai, because he had 400,000 votes in the past election, should head if there were to be another what can I say, coming together, he should still be the head?
No, let me can I come in on that?
Wait, let him address the question.
Let me say what I retain and I think. I will allow them to find their own solution because these are people very intelligent and experienced people. They all win my greatest admiration and respect. Nothing, they are quite capable if they have the political will. They put the country interest first and allow each and every one of them to sacrifice a little bit of their own stance in the interest of the people. I hope that they can find a solution on their own. If they can't find a solution on their own, then they will have to find a solution despite the odds. Like I said to you, when all of these primaries and all these other arrangements don't work, we're not going to give up on the country. The citizens of this country are not going to forgive the people of CPP if they don't find a way to work together at the end point. So if it was not going to work the way we want it, we're going to have to make it work the way that it can be worked. But it has to work. You get me? So I'm not against primary. I'm not against anything. I'm for them finding a solution. And if they can't find a solution, if it comes down to my opinion, I will say to them, take Joseph Juma Boakai, a man who has been there 12 years as vice president, who has seen all the ups and downs of the government, who has presided over the Senate for 12 years, who knows the political actors, political challenges, political opportunities, political possibilities. He has them all. He has the political experience. He has the international connections, the international experience. He has been there in all of the discussion. If you have this man who has been 12 years without a stint on his character, without anybody appointing anything substantial and empirical
JMB,
other than
as
just.
far as I'm concerned, JMB had not been audited
You
by any
see,
independent.
you see,
He has now been
interrupted.
audited. He has now
But
been audited
please don't
individually by
interrupt.
any.
Senator Balu, Senator
I'm saying
Balu,
I would think
you
Senator
asked me a
Balu will
question,
conclude,
and
because
before I
have a
answer
question for him
you,
as well.
before
Let
I
Senator
answer
Balu be
you,
allowed
you are
to-
interrupting. You know, you have to allow me to
We make it
learn.
interactive. We make it interactive, Senator.
No, but if you ask me a question, let me
This is
learn on the answer. Then you can ask a question. That's what interaction means.
Master.
But there's not
Master
interruption.
interview.
Interaction is different from interruption. Okay.
Master interview is
So-
that, I'm not going to wait until you tell me all this story, because the reason I ask you one question, if I ask you one question, I'm looking for several questions out of your answer. So
I'll
if you
listen
bring
to
up one
you.
more question, I got to ask you. That's what I said. Okay, yeah, you can continue. I mean, don't feel that I'm trying to strangle you, but sometimes I don't want to forget my other question that you raised in your answer. That's why. So just learn. And my
I'm
police
saying
team
to
can help
you.
me.
So I'm just saying to you, if you have the quality of this personality standing here, an elderly statesman, then you have a younger version of this statesman, a more progressive one. Because at the end of the day, the succeeding generations, the younger generations are always bringing more to the table. Most of you can tell me that your children play with the cell phones and the computer better than you did when you were young, even now. So Alexander Cummings, with the kind of experience he has, what he brings to the table will inspire people, renew confidence in the hope of this country. If he working with Joseph Nyeman Boakai, next, after 6 years, Alexander Cummings, presiding over the Senate, would acquire first-hand knowledge of the intricate, delicate politics of this country. He will assume that he would know it. He would now inherit all of the knowledge that Boakai had inherited in government, and he will ascend to the presidency as the most qualified person to head the presidency. That is what I'm saying. And there is a solution that we can move.
Vice president for 12 years and serving in government for more than 40 years.
Linford.
What is wrong with him retiring now?
Linford.
That could very well be an option, but guess what? He didn't opt to retire. He's opting to pursue his thing because he has hundreds of thousands of people who believe in him as well. The same way people believe in Cummings, there are hundreds of thousands of people, more people who believe in him. So what do you want him to do? Sometimes it's about him committing himself to the country.
Let me come in commerce. When I listened to the erudite, Senator Emeritus, appropriating Mr. Cummings as the most, competent candidate, but yet subject him, to serving, the most lukewarm, stratification within the asylum, of our governance structure, then of course it behooves me not great deal of surprise, because indeed this very Senator Balut has been a stalwart, a loyal stalwart of the masses of the United Party. And I say this to say, I remember Senator Balut agitating for the interest and in the interest of United Party partisans at the time when Madam Salif was president, when he was senator. So I really do think that a position of Senator Balut that describes Mr. Cummings as the most competent, and Mr. Boakai or VP Boakai as the most electable is now a strange position. Now, let me say this, Senator. I really do disagree with the assertion that VP Boakai is the most electable. The adjective most electable. I do agree. And I think this particular agreement of mine is not sentimentally informed. I have my reasons, but I don't want to digress further. But I agree with your statement that Mr. Cummings is the most competent. And if you want us to digress further, I can digress. Now, but the reason why
I'm giving you a chance to speak so that you can in turn give me a chance to speak.
Of course. Now, the reason why I disagree that indeed VP Boakai is not the most electable is because your analysis is informed by the 2017 data. And unfortunately, the VP Boakai we knew then, who participated in the elections then, was an incumbent vice president contesting for the presidency. The VP Bwaka we knew then had a running mate in the then Speaker Nunkwe. I mean, the VP Bwaka we knew then his entire team was integrated among local leaders at county levels. The VP Bwaka we knew then had leverage that he doesn't have today. And this is a fact. And if we want to agree with this fact, then indeed that data also is questionable. Now, if I see Senator Baloud, who I have followed over the years religiously, trying to suggest to me that he prefers VP Bwaka, or you prefer VP Bwaka on grounds that he's the most electable, and you are not preferring a candidate on the basis of competence, whenever we are all aware that the problems we face within Liberia are systematic. They are not problems that were imposed by the ascendancy of George Weah, but rather problems that are confronted with our institutions. I mean, are problems that are concerned with our institutions, are concerned with our governance system, and as such, our decisions surrounding preferment should be based on competence and not just electability. You know, so I'm baffled, Senator. I'm baffled over this position of yours that is preferring Bwaka, even though you're a UP man. Let me be very clear, Senator. You have been a UP man. And so this particular position of yours does not surprise me. But I'm baffled because you are a leader of Maryland County, you know.
Let me just give a disclaimer before the senator comes in. Here we agree and we disagree, but we do it respectfully. You see, me and my panelists, when we get ready for each other sometimes, are on completely different side, and they are on the other side. So when you get in our midst, we'll wrangle and do a lot of things. So, but it's all for us to come down to the bottom line of the issue that we are discussing. So address the issue.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. Someone like me, we're accustomed to it. We're used to it. That's why I accepted the challenge. I knew, reading from your comments, I know your posture. And I understand your own frustration. Except that you don't understand that your frustrations and my frustration are all aligned. We're on the same side. You know, most people listen to me and they only want to extract what they like to hear and reject the other. But it's a whole package. It's a whole package that is geared in the interest of the country. Now, the same Senator Balu who said Alexander Cummings is the most competent one, saying that Joseph Bwaka is the most electable one, but you would choose to go with the most competent and let go of the most electable. And no, let's be serious here. The clock is ticking. We are getting older. Each and every one of you there, including myself, no matter where you are, you still love this country. You still care about this country. That's why you're on air. That's why you have a talk show. That's why you're finding time. That's why you're inviting people like us, because you want to have a say and you want to make sure that no matter how you look living, your mind is still back home and you're still thinking about your younger brothers and sisters and the country. And I applaud you for that. And I can understand your frustration. And I'm saying to you, your frustrations you have don't mean anything if we don't do something about them. And sometimes the solution to channeling your frustration into a positive solution is not fixed in concrete. It has to be strategic. A lot of people, sometimes they just say now in the Unity Party, somebody else, oh, that Cummings man. You comment, oh, what you expect that Joseph Bwaka man. I talk with you, Ray, and I talk, look, I am Liberia focused. I'm thinking about this country. I say, mere politicians do things together and get re-elected, while statesmen do things in the interest of the next generation. I've always considered myself a state person because it doesn't matter what we feel like. All of us feel if the children's lives don't improve. All of us feel if our elderly people die immeasurably. You know, you're young, we're vibrant, you're all educated. What's about the millions of people who are not educated? What's about the young children here who are suffering every day, falling to drugs? The whole floodgate is open now. This country is just running down the hill with just illicit drugs, cocaine, crack, all kinds of things around here. In an already devastated economy. What's happening with these people? Children still living in slum area, 4, 5, 6 of them in a 5x4 yards room. How? The education, the health, the system, everything is down. Are we going to live like this forever when God has endowed us with a full, rich, natural resource country? The only thing lacking in this country is not money, it's not resources. Those are not our problems. The only thing lacking is the human resource, our thinking. How we can work together, bring our best together, find a solution to convert our resources from the ground to chicken and food and education on the table for our young people. That's what the challenge is. The real challenge is not whose side you're on. The real challenge is, despite the odds, how can we still make progress? The real challenge is, with all of the compromises, where can we find solution? That's the real challenge. In all of the confusion, where is the solution? That is the challenge. And I will appreciate if each and every one of you start to contribute to that debate. Yes, they are going separate ways now. Joseph Newman Boaka is a distinguished gentleman, statesman in this country. Please don't take away from that man what he has worked to earn over the years. You will not appreciate if somebody speaks lowly of you as you work in your country, as you raise yourself and your children. Nobody should do that to you. That's the same way. Even people from Ambassador Boaka's camp, they're speaking so negatively of Cummings, someone who has achieved probably more than any other Liberian, coming home to help. What is Cummings looking for? You think he's looking for a job? He's not looking for a job. Is he looking for opportunity to see? I don't think so. Cummings is trying to bring to this country what he has acquired from outside, because we are Liberians after all. We have great men and women in this country. Only the confusion is blurring our vision to see how we can work together. And this confusion didn't just start now. We are celebrating the bicentennial. How many of us really know what our ancestors, our leaders did in the past for this country? How many of us even appreciate it? We look at Liberia and say the worst of things. Do we know that Liberia didn't inherit anything from anybody? All of these West African countries, the African countries, when they won the independence, they inherited infrastructure. No Liberia inherited infrastructure. We built everything from our sweat, from the great statesmen who established a nation state called Liberia. That is the kind of things we have. We shouldn't try to pull each other down. We have a great country that can be great if we work together. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but quick,
So Alexander Cummings is a great man. We should respect him. Joseph Newman Boaka is a great man. We should respect him. We should respect all of our people.
We don't have the luxury of time. We push into 2 hours now, and we got to take a break for us to breathe a little bit. And when we come back, listen to me. When we take a break, we come back. You're going to ask a question, but let's make a question brief, because the senator, I think he wants to answer as many questions as we can. But if we need a long premise for more than 10 minutes before ask a question, we're taking the time. So
I'm all yours. I'm all yours.
The break will interfere our time. So let's just
interfere. Seriously.
Yes.
We do not need a break today, man.
The senator says something.
But here's it.
Wait, Steve, please. Yeah. I just want to dive in. The senator says something which is very important. That we all.
You are muted. You are muted, Paul.
You are muted, Paul.
All right. The senator says something which and he's still trying to put these people back together. But Senator, when all this started, I mean, I know you were called once upon a time the Barack Obama of Liberia, a man that came from nowhere, and he became that Barack Obama of Liberia. They saw it in you. Isn't that the same way with Mr. Cummings coming in with all of these things? He went out there, he bringing different style of politics. Why is it that if you want to fix this, we have some people within the CPP, I will call names, where all this started from. Mr. Benenayure, have you spoken to him that, look, this is how you guys should go? And the trouble started from there. Have you spoken to him? He's the main actor. He told Mr. Cummings to quote. Are you going to talk to him to withdraw the case from the court? And we're looking for the way forward, because tomorrow they may need each other. They're all going their separate ways. So how are you going to do this with the bar wounds?
Well, before coming public, I took my time to do this backdoor shuttling diplomacy. I went around, I spoke to all of them, including Mr. Ure that you spoke about. And I've also asked about the possibilities, like I said, not to go into details, but the way forward on things I proposed, most of the things I'm saying in public today. And everywhere I went was a deadlock. There's a deadlock, and I realized for many reasons. One, because they themselves within the CPP had tried many occasions to try to resolve some of these issues and they were not making progress. Okay? And most of them pointed towards the unmovable posture of Mr. Cummings. Now, put that aside. Another reason I found out that most of them were kind of adamant in the posture is that they had each allowed the propaganda machinery to go attacking without limits the political leaders of the CPP at different opposing sides. You know, when you do these things, it's kind of difficult because these kind of insults, these kind of talks that come from there, that's social media. Millions of people watching these things, thousands, and it can go off unlimited. It stays in the internet forever. Now, when you start to say these things, including some of the things I'm listening to on your show tonight, you know, these things don't help them. And everybody knows whose platform this is. Everybody knows who platform the other people are. You know, I was on the Dumo Factor, Manipeka Dumo, and a very brilliant guy, someone I respect and I admire. And I challenged him to declare ceasefire on his own show, starting with himself, giving the leaders chance to breathe and have a renewed attempt to try to reconcile. Because every time somebody hears these kind of things are coming, and then you don't rein them in, you don't correct your people from your own side, the person on the other end, these other leaders take it personal, that you condone it. And this is only worsening the situation. Even President Salif.
On our platform, we are very moderate.
Listen to the way people speak of President Salif. Look at the way they speak of
her. We are very moderate here. We do not use any profanity here. We may strongly disagree with people, but there are other talk show hosts, for example, Costa, our name, he comes and calls Mr. Cummings stupid, dirty, nasty, sleazy. We don't use those words on Mr. GM, on Mr. Bwaka, neither Mr. Oyure. We do not. But nobody, this is a hypocrisy that I see. Because I am well endowed. I've been in this business for more than 30 years. I'm well endowed. I can go under people's skin very deeply if I want to do it. But some of us got different upbringing. And so, you know, when you're preaching these things, I really accept it. If only people like Mr. Joseph Gruma Bwaka could tell Costa to start doing those things. So I don't see where the ceasefire will come in, because every day, every single day, Costa gets on his show. I mean, he may have thousands of people watching, but if I have one person watching and I give a negative message, that one person can take it to somebody and somebody will take it. You see, but JMB has never come out publicly. Cummings called on all of his supporters some time ago to ceasefire, like you're doing now, which is a very good thing. Okay, not from me. I would never ever use any profanity on anybody, not even the little child, because of my upbringing. Okay, but today,
but I still challenge you to be a little bit kinder with Ambassador Bwaka on your show as well, because these people need each other. We're all on the same side.
We take note of the challenge to be a little bit kinder with your partisan, Senator. Now, but on a more serious note, the senator have referenced his challenge to Dumoy, you know, Uncode is surrogate of the ANC, and the senator is now submitting to us that we are not kind with, you know, Vivi Bwaka. It is my hope. I can only hope that the senator will continue his journey to the likes of, you know, other, you know, platforms, you know, and be able to make the same position to them that they should go. Because seizing fire on this show does not mean seizing fire everywhere, you know, and you have fire coming from there. Yeah. Now, we all follow the situation within the CPP, Senator, and I want to be very realistic with you. And I like the ambassadorial role you play, you know, beyond the curtains. You know, unfortunately, we are where we are. But trying to put the CPP, you know, Halu Balu in context, you know, substantially, everyone here will agree with me that, you know, the CPP, you know, disunity actually got fueled by two major, you know, factors. One that is concerned with the fact that the UP folks, along with their leader, has been obsessed with the fact that they feel they are the most electable, you know, electable candidate within the CPP. And so that will mean or that will equate to their ordination, you know, as the standard bearer of the CPP. And this created a serious problem because Mr. Cummins have suggested, you know, a competition, you know, because Mr. Cummins has competed, you know, and this is why we are here, why we are today. Another factor is the vice president, who becomes the vice president of VP Bwaka. Got the ALP of Ure and the LP of the late Mr. Brumskin into some problems. Now, the issue here is, Senator, do you want to disagree with me that, you know, it is because VP Bwaka and his folks know that they cannot win Mr. Cummins at the primaries, that have informed their exit from the CPP? The second question would be, Senator, where are we as it stands? Where are you, Senator? Where is the direct? Now, the fact is that it may not be possible for everyone to re-emerge. So where will be your support?
That's what I said. That's what I said. The CPP has so far collapsed. And CPP on one side and the new alliance is probably going on another side. And my only advice is, even as you have this divorce, you're going your way, go separate on respectful terms. Right now, the terms don't seem to be respectful enough, because the Unity Party had a statement that the ANC responded to. They all try to attribute blames on each other. That's not the kind of beginning that I would like to see. I would have just appreciated, okay, we tried this thing, it didn't work. We think each person should go their separate ways, and then we go it. And you on the other side, in referring to the Unity Party withdrawal statement, shouldn't have even gone deep into all of that. They could have just said, well, the Unity Party and co decided to leave. We wish them well, and we will see how we can work together while we still maintain our relationship, you know, from a distance. Those are all responsible, peaceful statements that can guarantee future cooperation. You see, the situation ahead is very delicate. It is not something to take lightly. It is not something I would play with. This equation has in the balance lives of millions of people, lives of the next generation, lives of the prospects of peace or chaos or war in the future. That's what it represents. So we need to be very cautious as we approach it. Right now, this country leaders require more wisdom than even academic credentials, require more wisdom than degrees, than political positions. We need wise men and women.
The wisdom that has led the CPP to this point, is that what you're suggesting?
I'm saying we need wisdom that should have prevented the CPP from reaching to this point. We need a wisdom now that can put them together despite the temporary separation. The wisdom that can prepare the runoff if we don't merge, that can prepare a new merger before the election or after the runoff, at the runoff. A kind of a wisdom that can lay the platform that we have start to have an underground collaboration that makes it possible. Do not just have cooperation, but a willing partnership. You know, what is at stake is bigger than each and every one of us. We can all go tonight. God can carry everybody, anybody, anytime. While we are here, why should we waste such precious time fighting each other? Why should we waste such precious time standing in concrete our posture and our egos and our pride and our trophies? I think leadership is about sacrifice at some point. You know the story of Solomon and those two. You know the story of Solomon and those two women with a baby. We all know that.
Yeah.
You know how each claimed that baby. And one of them said, "Let's cut the baby in half." The other said, "No, don't." Who would say, "Don't kill the baby"? Who would say, "Don't split the future of our children in half"? Who would say, "Don't let our children go down the drain"? Who would say that?
But
It is
Senator
the same kind
Ambassador,
of
Senator
yes.
Ambassador, if you came to us and suggest to us that Ambassador Bwaka is the most electable candidate, then I see you to be a part of the problem. If I want to be honest with you, Senator, if you see,
And
because there's a
that is your
political
right as well.
competition. Mr. Cummings
Yeah.
is saying, I'm prepared for a democratic primaries process. And we all sign up for this process. You know, and then if you come and say, if you sing the song, the music of the UP people, and start to say that, you know, he is the most electable, I'm afraid that you might not be solving a problem, Senator.
Okay.
Well, this is
When you
democracy.
have
So he's
to
entitled
speak,
to what he feels.
listen.
And
Let's
first of
listen
all,
to
you
the
should know
Senator,
that he's a
please.
UP man.
When we speak of electability, and you want to be scientific, there are two ways we can go about it. You can reference records, or you can have opinion polls. Now, from all indications, all the opinion polls carried out in this country, VP Bwaka was led them and continues to lead them. From the
Isn't
record,
that the same propaganda that people been running about this
Yeah,
opinion
opinion poll is
poll?
propaganda. I reference
Because
scientific
we
aspect.
know
But
people
go ahead,
in
Senator,
America
go
being
ahead.
paid to just call the radio station. Isn't
Yeah.
that?
Okay, let me just remind the senator of something. You see, when we talk about this opinion poll and thing, or number, the quote unquote number, George Weah won the election massively. Okay, with number that was higher than even JMB. 3-4 years in between, the same George Weah is being whipped in Mosoralo County. Now, I will remind you, Senator, you've been contesting your position as former senator. You didn't get it on silver platter. You ran for that position, okay? And you just ran for another position. You just ran in a recent election, and what happened to you? You lost, right? So there's no more thing. You know, the voters that you had when you were senator, they were not cattle. That after voting for you, you go and tie them in your backyard and wait for the next election. Time to go for election, you lose in it, and then you add new number two. Now, after elections, two things can happen. Whether you lose or you win, two things can happen to your number. They can either increase based on your activities after elections in preparation for the next election, or they can decrease. Now, so let's do away with this number thing. Let me tell you one thing. Let me agree
you know,
with
I
you
was
that
asked a
Joe Waka
question
may
and I
have
was
increased his number
answering,
that they even win
and
George Weah now.
I was
Okay?
asked a
But
question
equally so,
and I
a
was
number that
answering.
dropped tremendously that even me, I can win him. So let's forget about this number.
But
Consider your own situation.
When you challenge my statement about electability, you say what made you to say so, then I have to tell you why I say so. And then if I'm asked a question, then of course you have to allow me to answer the question. Then if you disagree, then of course you can have your own dissenting opinion. That's what it's about. So my point here is he's leading all the opinion poll. The last data for election tells us that he got more than 200,000 votes more than the next CPP member. Okay, now more than 225, 250,000 almost to the closest person from the CPP to him. Now, can you question the man's electability when he's winning all the recent opinion polls and he has a record on that? Can you question that? No.
So I can tell you why.
Senator, I can question that.
I can question it. I can tell you why.
Steve, hold on. If the polls are showing that he's winning, then why is he afraid of going to a primary that he have the number? So if the poll is showing the very people that are going to that primary are the same people that say, look, this man is electable, we're going to carry him. So why is he afraid to go to the primary than to pull out? And everything going his way.
Now, Senator, I can also question that on two grounds, like I earlier on indicated. When VP Bwaka contested 2017, he contested as an incumbent. Now, what he had at the time, he doesn't have it now. That's a clear fact. When VP Bwaka contested 2017, he had the sitting speaker then as his running mate. Do you know what it means for the sitting speaker to be your running mate? It means that you've gotten the majority black within the lower house. It means that you've gotten almost every member of that majority black to run campaign for you in a different districts. It means that in context, you have gotten the district local leadership on your side. Because it is the lawmakers that have influence over these people. Those of us who, yeah. And so there are many reasons why we can question those numbers, because those numbers are not in the vote. If you look at the political ramifications, that necessitated, the results that VP Bwaka earned from the elections compared to the ramifications now, anyone would suggest safely that VP Bwaka cannot echo that number nowhere in Liberia now as it stands. Knowing that he's been in the opposition, he's in the opposition, he's not an incumbent.
But Steve, you made the senator to run away. The senator left already. He just packed it.
No, he didn't run away. I think
he having technical problems.
The internet, yeah, I just joking because the man just speaking too many jargons here.
What happened here is, at the time he was the incumbent, they had state power. They were using the resources of the state to campaign. Now, can that happen?
Never.
No, it can happen again. And now
there is a very interesting comment here. Because according to, I'm sorry that the senator is not here, but because he keeps basing his argument on the past number that Bwaka had. So the person is asking, does that mean that George Weah will win again? Because George Weah. So Senator. I mean, why you went away?
We just want to stand on and answer this question.
There is this comment that came. It said, does that mean, because your argument is that GMB is electable based on his past number in 2017. Okay, even though I reminded you that numbers can flip-flop, but you still believe in that. So does that mean that since George Weah won the 2017 election massively, he will still win?
No, I just spoke to you about opinion polls. Okay, we're matching the present with the past. The present has to sustain the past to draw a conclusion. I'm saying Ambassador Bwaka is leading the current opinion polls in the country, all over. So, and this is confirming his record he had in the past election. Now, you've spoken about John Balut's own attempt for re-election.
Yeah.
There were many reasons. I went to the election, of course, 3-4 months before election. I was just, because I was ambassador, I was recalled, and I just decided to go straight into that because of my passion I have of wanting to remain in the mainstream politics of this country to help from us wherever we are. And so I went in there, and of course, my results were not good, simply because the ground was not right, the time was not right, and I was just driven by my competency and my record that didn't match my electability, because all of my other colleagues,
so
partners, competitors. Listen to me.
In your mind,
my other competitors. Let me finish. All my other competitors have been campaigning 2 years before I got into the picture. So yes, I understand that, and I accept it. That's democracy. Okay, but John Balu case is not the same case as Joseph Newman Bwaka. Neither is it the same case as Alexander Cummings, because these people,
let's compare Hillary Clinton case. Hillary Clinton led all the opinion polls, but she was whipped by Barack Obama.
So that's the case, but we are in Liberia, and I'm saying to you, okay, I don't want to go into the details. I don't want to deviate too much from the discussion because we lose focus. The issue at hand is, we have our future at stake. The CPP is our hope. It is disintegrating. What do we do? When I spoke about electability versus competency, it is not the position of the Unity Party. Neither is it the position of any CPP organ. Neither is it the position of any, like I said, CPP organ. It's my personal opinion. And this is why I'm throwing light into the debate, so that we all can find a way to match our two best persons we have now to form this formidable team. That's all I'm saying. I'm not against
Okay, very good.
primaries. I support primary any day.
I try to follow.
But
I try to
but
follow
but
your.
but if you
I
don't
try to
have
follow
primary,
your.
good.
I try to
But
follow
if we
your
don't
idea.
have primary,
Ideas.
but if we don't
And
have primary, so what do we do? If we don't have consensus, so what do we do? If we don't have the voter perception survey to lead us in our selection process, what do we do? Do we dash the citizens' hope? Do we throw our country down to oblivion? Or do we find a way by which we can still make it work? That's all I'm saying. Find a way, make it work. You are the leaders. You are supposed to be smarter than us. You are supposed to be more experienced than us. More to whom much is given, much is expected. The children in this country, which is the broad masses, they look up to you for solution. Don't disappoint them. That's what I'm saying.
I will urge you, Senator, to continue your quest. And this is not the last time you are coming back here. I will bring you back. We will try to bring you back here again to tell us in a few weeks from now, to tell us how far you've gone with this effort, and we will do our part. Like you said, I mean, all of us here, we are all Liberians, so we want a betterment of Liberia. But our time is far, 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 far spent. So we're going to go around the table in just 1 minute. Everybody will have to make their closing comment, and the senator will be the last to
I
close
just
it.
have a little question for Senator Ballo. You are talking about unity. Don't you think that it's too late? It's too late now for the unity you're talking about in CPP?
Okay. The unity that I was calling for first was to make sure that they don't disintegrate. Now they're disintegrated. Maybe it's too late for them to call for that.
Yeah.
My next quest for unity is, even as you go separate ways, part on good terms. Keep the relationship healthy because you will need it in the future. My quest now for unity is, see how you can still allow time and space to play their role. Because I said time and space can heal. Give us a chance to see how you can reconnect somewhere, preferably before election, but surely, definitely at the runoff. Make it work. Save life.
Okay, no. We have to run this thing up. We have to run this thing up.
Yeah, just
We
last
can't
one
hold down
question.
our no. We cannot hold down. We got to
Wait.
follow rules. We cannot hold down our guests because probably next time you invite somebody, they will say no. When you go there, we'll bring Senator Ballo back here.
No, but let's understand that Senator Ballo new quest for unity does not correlate with the reality on ground as it relates to the Booker case in court. It does
Yeah,
not
but
correlate.
like he said, time
Now, I
can
want
heal.
you to
Nobody
comment on
knows
that.
what will happen tomorrow as we speak. Benin Nigeria could go and withdraw the case from court. So what can you say? Nobody knows what will happen. But like I said, let's go around the table individually. Saras, I see you've been a little bit compressed. So we will start with Saras, give his parting comment, and then we'll go around the table, and the senator will be the last person.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I just like to thank everybody for the discourse, especially Senator Balu, who you guys have put on the hot seat. I also like to commend you for the efforts that you are pushing. Like I said earlier, I don't think the breakup is a bad thing. Look, I mean, I'm a project manager. Conflict is not a bad thing. We have time now to figure out maybe it was not a good mix. These people are respectable. Maybe they will find time to harmonize as we go towards elections. In the end, the Liberian people should be putting their support behind the candidates and parties that offer the best chance to move us forward. So in my mind, coming together just for coming together's sake is not as important as identifying the person or the teams that show the best chance of moving our country forward. In the end, people with they deserve the leaders to get. We like the people that if we can move them forward. So without much ado, I'm a little time pressed. I like to leave. Thank you all very much.
Thanks a lot, Saros, for coming. You will always be here, so we cannot say thank you because anytime we'll call on you and you'll be here to come and discuss the issues of all. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know. Let me go to the Une lady. Andre, your parting comment.
I want to say thank you to the senator for coming on the bottom line. I hope you never felt offended because this the name of the show define itself, the borderline. So we put you on the hot seat today. Don't run away, please. You are always welcome on our platform. And yeah, we had a very good discussion today. But unfortunately, it's too late now. I wish it has, it has been done before now, but where it is now, it's already too late. So, thanks for coming once again, and yeah, that's it.
Stephen Carley.
Yeah, so Senator, leader, and ambassador John Akabalut. It's an honor, Senator. It's an honor, a privilege, and an opportunity to be in a conversation with you. It was a fruitful conversation. I have learned a lot. I'm going with a lot. I basically, I'm going with an understanding that the idea of Mr. Cummings being most competent or the most competent candidate, that ability of competence is a fixed ability. It doesn't change. It doesn't change it. Now, unfortunately, on the other side of the divide, if it is a political divide, Ambassador Bwaga, who has been referred to, not necessarily as the most competent, but as the most electable. And that's whole ability to be electable, electability it varies. That's an ability that varies, and so that's the point I want to make. I want to disagree substantively that there is no number sitting somewhere from 2017 in the vote. And I want to agree also with the folks that the opinion polls propaganda, influence, stuff. And so I do not make my determinations on the basis of opinion polls that are stage managed, and yeah. But I think your interest is in the best interest. What your message is in the best interests of the Liberian people. The only, correlation I look for is that, right now as it stands, the reality on ground is that the CPP is in court. The legitimacy of the CPP is being contested in court, whereas other, political leaders of a constituent political party on court are going to testify or are testifying instead of serving as state witness against, other factions of the CPP. Along these lines, for the CPP to reemerge, for the CPP to proceed
The way and manner you want her to proceed is almost unrealistic. And that's something I want you to consider in your parting statement. Once again, it's been a pleasure being in a conversation with you, Senator.
Thank you. Paul.
Well, I'll say thank you to the senator. We had a fruitful discussion, and I like your style, and I like the determination to see how to move Liberia forward. And we'll be looking forward to another discussion in the near future. And I think we're now going, because both parties going separate way, maybe now we'll get an understanding of the political leaders, their platform, what they're running on. And then we see what they intend to do for Liberia, to change Liberia. So I think going the separate way would have the understanding. And before we leave, I just want to say our sympathy goes to one of our strong founding fathers of the today democracy that we enjoy in Liberia, Dr. Sawyer, who at the time when I was a little kid, remember setting donors on the university campus when he was running for a city mayor of Liberia against Chuchu Horton. So I think our sympathy goes to the family.
Yeah, that was 1979. I still remember.
Yeah, so I was a little boy in elementary school setting donor, but then I came to admire him so much for the stand he took. So today we enjoy that democracy in Liberia. Yeah. So, Senator, we'll go to interact with you another time. And I like the discussion. I like your passion. And let's do it again another time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Senator, you can just briefly 1 minute give us your parting comment, and then we get on with that.
Well, again, like you all share, we all had a great time. I had a great time. I learned a lot from you as well. And I'm very pleased and impressed with the level of interest you have in the country. I think you should keep it up because a lot of people back home look up to some of you back there, up there, wherever you are, to see how you keep the spotlight on Liberia. And the CPP is quite an issue to deal with. But beyond the CPP, there are many other issues we can talk about in this country. Today, I had an opportunity to speak about the issue of drugs in this country. And I want you also to adapt these things, not just the political, direct, raw political subject matter, but the underlying issues that also draw into the politics, where the political will of the government in place to combat drug proliferation and hold these people accountable, especially so we know who they are, where they're selling it, and where they're coming from. Those things are not secret. So we need to be able to deal with these kind of issues. People have a lot of issues to discuss, and I hope you all pay attention to that. As it relates to the CPP, the CPP is a beautiful experiment that has gone bad, that is getting sour, and we should fight it so that it doesn't go that way. As much as we can to bring it back, because it is an indispensable, very strategic approach towards saving this country. Anything short of the CPP is anybody's guess. And the CDC government in place is not sleeping. These people are picking the broken pieces up. They're learning from their mistakes. The CPP has given an early warning to them. So they are quickly starting to put the house in order. We cannot say the same for the CPP. Now, Cummings ANC is busy in court. You understand that? Liberty Party is in disarray. Unity Party is starting to do damage control and all of these things. We've had an entire year going around in circles when we could have been, consolidating our gains and moving forward and inspiring the people into a common front. But then again, they've gone separate ways. I want to pray, like some of your panelists have said, maybe something good can come out of it. Like I said, space and time can heal. Let them go in there, stop the insults, stop the attacks against each other. You are all on the same side. That's the opposition bloc. So remain focused on the other side and less on each other. The competition is not between you, at least not yet. Consolidate, speak kindly to each other, visit each other, make some public appearances together, and see how you can deal with the issue of the ANC in court. Because it is this political problem that ended up in court. As you go separate ways, maybe you need to undo the political thing and see how you can, minimize the court thing. And bring the Liberty Party together. Don't take half of Liberty Party left and right. And I say to the people of Liberty Party themselves, they owe it to themselves. They owe it to their co-bearers. They owe it to their former standard-bearer and leaders of the party and the citizens of their country and their party to reunite their own party irrespective of the size of their political leadership. They, the grassroots, must call for it. In this country, we say concerned unity partisans, concerned liberty. Let the concerned liberty partisans come together. Let us start their own movement and unite the party. Let us take away the confusion in this country. There's too much confusion. How will we develop our country where we can't even appreciate each other? So having said that, it's been a long night. I want to thank you for the invitation, and may God bless us all.
Okay, thank you, Senator John A. Ballot Jr. He's been our guest tonight, and it's been a very, very healthy discussions. And we hope to have the senator back here very soon again to discuss, like he said, other issues. And so, Andre?
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah.
Steve, welcome back. You've been away for a while. I think the discussions were great, and we hope that we'll continue next week, and probably we might have another guest here. And we also want to say thank you to Saros, who was a little bit pressed, but Saros is going to be regularly with us as much as he can, and for us to put things into perspective. It's been a great show tonight. Thanks for watching. Our viewers, share this video. Go back on the video on Facebook and also on YouTube and watch it if you miss it. And make sure that you can share it with others who are in your friends list. It's been a great night, isn't it?
It's a great. Can I make a quick announcement before we go?
You'll pay your announcement fee.
Yeah, I will in the future. Well, to our listening audience, there'll be flyers coming up. Mr. Cummings will be visiting Europe on the 8th and the 9th of July in Hanover, Germany, and it will be a big thing coming up. The flyers are all the end of this month, so just let them be aware. If they want to come to Germany and meet the great person, he will be there the 8th and the 9th of July. So I just want to put that message out there.
It's Eindhoven, huh?
And
Yeah, no, it's Hanover.
Oh, Hanover. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hanover.
Yeah,
It's the capital city
I
of the
slept in Hanover
northwestern part of
2 years
Germany.
ago on my way to Frankfurt. Well, we hope to be there. And so that's an announcement. In fact, I come in, write my bill and send it to Mr. Cummings. But just before we leave, let's leave with this message from Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, just in case some of our viewers have never actually heard from this man, because I think one of the things we've been told by people that we talk to is that a lot of people say, "But we don't know, we haven't heard about this man. We don't know what he plans to do." Unlike the other people who just want to be president, who just want to win because they get number, Alexander Cummings has plans, and these are the plans that we think he can put into place to make Liberia better. So this is how we're going to leave you. Listen to Mr. Alexander B. Cummings.
My name is Alexander Cummings, and I want to work with honest men and women to change Liberia for the better. I want to open the doors of governance to all capable persons. I want to use the collective brain power of all of our men and women. I want to build a nation of self-sufficiency. I want to build an environment that thrives on and promotes a vibrant Liberian private sector. I want to ensure that we are a nation where education is key in all of our national development priorities. I want to create and nurture a development agenda that ensures our young people have jobs when they graduate from school. I want to create an environment where our women have access to equal opportunities in every aspect of our society. I want to promote a system that uses our country's natural resources for the benefit of all. I want to see our country flourish beyond our wildest imagination. We are capable of doing it if we work together. We may not all agree all of the time, but we can set aside our differences and work towards charting a new course without the infighting, backbiting, and backstabbing. Whether you're a member of the ANC, ALP, LP, or UP, we must channel our support for individual candidates into championing our collective objective, defeating the Weah administration in the 2023 presidential and legislative elections, and ushering in a governance more prepared, more capable, more experienced, more skilled, and more honest men and women. With your help, we can move Liberia to being a better country. I thank you. God bless you and God bless Liberia.
This is Bottom Line Liberia.